Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
G'day and welcome to this extra special edition of Thrash and Treasure, the torture chamber musical comedy podcast that'll sell itself for a cheap laugh on the corner of Parkway Drive and 42nd Street. Speaking of cheap, I'm Aaron, your host for today, and I am joined as usual by the thing to my cousin It, the Charlie Brown to my Snoopy, the man in my ceiling who better not be fiddling on my roof. Oh wait, wrong composer. Shit. My co-host Gareth. How's it going, Mr. G?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
It is fantastic. Yes, life is good.
Yep, life is good. How was your week?
My week was good. It wasn't as exciting as last week, but it has been.
Yeah, I'm going to let you finish, but we all know that Beyonce had the best week.
So, we're going to jump straight into the episode because...
Okay.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Guess what?
What?
We don't have a Broadway diva with us today. We have a Broadway legend joining our wild party. I cannot believe these words are about to be a thing. It is my greatest honor to introduce the man who not only wisely put Kristen Chenoweth on the international map with his update of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, he also wisely put nobody in blackface with his take on the Wild Party. We're joined by a painfully talented composer, lyricist, conductor, playwright, record producer, oh hey Bat Boy, and he's a mighty morphin power arranger.
That's terrible.
That always has a twinkle in his eye as he tickles more than just the ivories with such compositions as the Addams Family musical, John and Jen, The Little Princess, among many others, including today's chosen musical. Not only all that, but you can hear him expose his secret superhero identity as an exquisite singer when he was Harvey Milk in I Am Harvey Milk. Wait, not me. He was? Now I've confused myself. Anyways... Fosse walk aside, Charity, because this man is now the bravest individual on Broadway. Please give the warmest, most Aussiest g'day to the biggest fish to swim into our ridiculous pond, the multi-award-winning, fully vaccinated Mr. Andrew Lippa. Wait, what?
Oh.
Welcome to the torture chamber. How are you going? Am I dreaming?
Well, how can I possibly? How can anybody follow that? I can't follow myself. You know, I'm dying to try and say something with an Australian accent. Of course,
Please do.
Please. No, I can't. No, I can't do it. No.
Here's one for you, bugger.
Bugger. G'day. I can do Mr. Speaker.
Oh no! Right, okay, that's $1. That is $1.
I can do the famous speech. I can do the speech.
That is how you top that
And
intro,
Mr. Speaker,
Andrew.
the gentleman from across the aisle. No, I start sounding like Margaret Thatcher yelling it in the grocery store.
She didn't do her own groceries. There's no way she shopped.
She did after. You know what? You lose a lot of privileges after. Like,
Yeah.
Donald Trump has to go to the toilet by himself now.
Got to wipe his own. No, let's not go there.
But speaking of which, Gareth, you were born in New Zealand, but now live in Australia. And Andrew, you were born in England, but now live in America. I was born in Australia, but live in Australia. Does that make me the only one born in continent?
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
How's that?
my God.
How is that for a segue?
Is there a pun award for the best podcast puncast?
I hope so.
Oh dear! Don't encourage him.
I have to tell you about that. We watched the Punderdome. Do you know the Punderdome?
No.
The international competition that happens in New York City. So I don't know why it's international, but now that it's zoomed, it's international. Go check out the Punderdome, and we bought their game, and it's a fabulous game where you have to make up puns with your friends. Which, of course, if you're a person who makes up puns, you don't have any friends. But
That's so true.
I'm writing that down.
Wow. No, no, please do.
oh yes, you
I'm
must go to the
checking it out.
Punderdome. I'm gonna Google now. I'm like, this is a podcast. Nobody can see me what I'm doing.
No.
Punderdome game. Is that what it's? Let's look it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's called Punderdome card game, and you can. I don't know if you can get it in Australia, but if you can, I'll find a way to get it to you.
Thank you for it. That's awesome. I'm obsessed with puns, and that's sort of
It's a sign of
everything
great
I do.
intelligence.
Is puns. Well,
It's a sign of great intelligence. because
I
I
say
saw
it's a-
I saw your shirt.
Well, you're lucky I didn't write a review of Big Fish.
Yeah.
so-
Oh no! Yikes. Speaking of,
No.
we just got a great review in some magazine for a production of John and Jen that was just done in Melbourne.
Oh,
A
wow.
spectacular review where
Oh.
clearly all reviews are correct when they say things like the legendary Andrew Lippa.
Wow.
That's what they said. The
Well,
legendary. The music is
yeah.
by the legendary Andrew Lippa. So I you know it's a good review. You know that
Yeah.
person knows what they're talking about.
Exactly. But it's funny because I had to do some detective work in the past couple of weeks because
Ooh.
I had seen You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown in 1999 in Melbourne in a community theatre. And I had an inkling, was that the premiere of your version? But how the hell am I going to find that out? So I went looking, and lo and behold, the actress who played Sally Brown was nominated for an award in 1999 for that part. So apparently I saw your version of Charlie Brown and I didn't even know it.
Brilliant.
So-
Or I should say, if we're talking about, I should say, why are you talking to me? For those of you in the metal thrash world, it's from a song I wrote
Yes.
for that show.
Yes, Andrew updated it for the 1999 Broadway revival, which had Anthony Rapp in it, had B.D. Wong from Jurassic Park, it had Ilana Levine in it, it had Kristen Chenoweth. It put her on the international map, as I say.
Wow.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, would Kristen be your Christine Daae to your Phantom?
Yes, that's exactly how I describe it late at night.
Yep.
That is when I'm alone and we don't have 4 listeners. Yes.
Yes.
That is.
Next time she hears a strange noise, she'll know who it is.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
That's all good.
Oh
I
my God.
absolutely love her. But anyways, we'll move on to metal.
Yes.
Because Gareth this week tortured a Broadway legend with heavy metal.
No, I was nice. I don't know if it was.
Well, we don't know.
I don't know if it was heavy. I don't know if it was torture.
We don't know if it was metal either.
Wow. Okay.
No, but I have written a review.
Oh, good.
I actually wrote 3 reviews this time because I was
Okay.
just utterly unsatisfied with all the puns that I had.
Welcome to my world. I'm always unsatisfied with your puns.
I hate you. Anyways, would you like to hear my review?
Yes, I would.
All right. When I first saw the cover, it said 6 a.m. So I hopped straight into bed and pressed pause. But then I realized it was 3 p.m. So I got up and pressed play. And the first song told me to rise. So I did. The next listen through of the CD, though, I started getting this urge to break out my old leather pants. So I did, as I rocked out to You Have Come to the Right Place, which was clearly written by the great Diane Warren. But by the 4th listen, the strangest thing happened. I unwittingly pulled out my old platform boots and eyeliner and complimented my leather pants. But suddenly, this darkly camp music started to fall into place. But Better Man left me for a better Robbie Williams song. And then on the 12th listen, my arms blindly stretched out and pulled out my old Heather Locklear wigs, which I sprayed black and layered them on top of my head, which was good because the bigger the hair, the closer to God, the further away from this devil music, which I fear is starting to affect my behavior and clothing choices. Upon my 15th listen, as I felt my pirate shirt front rip open at the buttons, revealing a wiry meadow of manly chest hair, which I never knew I had, thankfully, it dances under the force of my new wind machine. Speaking of windy, this music blows my speakers upon my 20th listen as I stare over my Ray-Ban sunglasses at the blue and violet eyeshadow dawning over my eyelids. How did that get there? This ain't RuPaul's Best Drag Race, but as the music begins its 30th and final playthrough, I catch my reflection in the mirror. I gasp. My hands rise up habitually to my shocked face. The assortment of skull rings and studded wristbands glistens in the sunlight. What's happening to me? Why do I look like a Halloween pantomime dame? Is this what mediocrity feels like, Gareth? If so, I don't want it. But this music, I'd be homophobic to turn down something for being so gay, even if there was some delicious guitar licks. Because, and this kills me to admit, It's been a long time since anything this gay gave me such delicious licks. 4 fucking stars.
Wow. What?
4. Yeah, this album was so incredibly gay. I loved it. All right. Sorry. It's glam rock. This was glam rock, yes?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, so this is the brainchild of Nikki Sixx.
Mm-hmm.
Hence 6 a.m. Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. There's no more glam than there's no more.
We didn't say what album it was. It was 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
6
Prayers for the Damned.
Prayers for the Damned. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. I actually gave this one to you because this just oozes stadium rock.
It does.
This is a sing along, okay, this is my go-to when I just want a big dumb rock album, and when I say big dumb rock, I mean that.
I thought it was your go-to when you want to be gay.
With what? This is not. There is nothing gay about Motley Crue. They.
I know it's not. I'm teasing you. You gave this album to 2 gay men from Team Musical. All right. What jokes and burns do you think were going to come out of my mouth from this?
I just knew I couldn't give Andrew Lippa death metal because I have way too much respect.
No. After last week.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
After last week's guest, you terrified? Like, seriously, Andrew, you dodged a bullet.
I'm interested from someone actually talented and an actual songwriter.
Yes.
What did you think, Andrew? Did you have a listen to any of it? No.
I did have a listen to it. I did have a listen to it. And here's what happens. I think it's awesome.
Wow.
And I really, really love the sound of this kind of music. And the music really interests me. Except I can't do it for very long because I find like if I listen to it for 10 minutes, it feels like someone's trying to kill me. Like, and I have to like stab them in the eye. It feels like a Game of Thrones battle, like where I need the dragon glass and they're the White Walker and they keep coming at me and I don't have my dragon glass. And so I can only listen to a little bit at a time. And I listened to it in preparation for this, what shall we say, meeting of the tribal warlords. And it ultimately comes down to this. And I may be getting too deep in the weeds already, but it comes down to this. There are lots of examples of people, not Nikki Sixx, but people who are not of the musical theater, who make shows and make musicals. And where they often fail is not in the music, because they understand how to make music that has emotional pull and that actually like gets you to feel something. Yeah. It's where they fail is in the lyrics. They fail in the storytelling. So like the opening number and opening number. Sorry, what do they call it in a heavy metal band? So like the opening track. The opening track. Yeah, the first motorcycle dude.
The first cue.
And the first one, like, rise! Exclamation point. Get yourselves together. Rise! Which is basically the end of Company for anybody who knows what I'm talking about. Stand up and live your life. So like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean, like, who are you talking to? Like, stand up and live your life. I'm fucking living my life. What do you make? What assumptions are you making, bitch? Rise! Exclamation point. Get yourselves together. Repetitive is fine. Rise and your hands up high. So am I being arrested? Is someone putting a gun at me? Hands up high. Okay. And then it changes. Hey, stand up to the devil slowly rising. Like, there was nothing about that first part of the song that told me the devil was slowly rising and that I had to stand up to the devil. Clear your throat now, which is like, why? Like, am I gonna spit a cock a loogie on the devil? Clear your throat now. You can call for their demise. Oh, clear your throat now so that I can use it to scream. Speak out. Don't let the status quo define you. In other words, this feels like the Michigan militia. Like we've gone through a lot of shit in my country this past year. And this feels like the kind of shit they play
Yes.
defy the government and and so I'm like, I don't like this, scares me, like it scares me, so I need the dragon glass.
Yep.
So I there is part of me, I'm not kidding, there is part of me that loves. I wrote a song recently. I've got a movie in development, an original movie musical in development, and there's a song in it. It all takes place in the 1980s, and the songs are all kind of nods to various styles and songs from the 80s. And one of them is very, very grungy, like whatever the equivalent of 80s grunge is. I know grunge wasn't until later, but the sort of gritty kind of sound. And there's one thing I found in one of my music programs where like they have like extended guitar solos that you could just cut up any way you want. And there's one that's like the coolest, like it sounds like a monster truck pull event. And and by the way, as a sidebar, Robbie Blatt's bar mitzvah in 1978, Robbie Blatt's bar mitzvah was held at the main event, which was the restaurant in the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And the big event that night, it was a big sporting arena. And the big event that night was a monster truck pull. Do they call that in Australia?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And so all these Jewish kids going into a bar mitzvah party with all the kinds of people who go to monster truck pull events. It's a different demo.
Gorgeous.
It's a different group. And we watched monster trucks like do the thing that monster trucks do. So that's what gave me a taste, I think, for this kind of music was Robbie Blatt's bar mitzvah. So yes, Gareth, I did listen, and I have analyzed it.
Oh, yes, you have.
Analyzed the shit out of it. You're doing my job for me.
That is scary.
Yep.
That is scary. Look, to be honest, to distill 6 a.m. down to a monster truck rally, that's a fair call. That is an absolute fair call. Yeah. I'm ashamed to admit.
Yes. No. Well, you know what? It was absolutely brilliant. Because sometimes when I'm doing these joke reviews, which they are full of puns and silly jokes, and even when I didn't like something, I always feel really mean. So now I kind of feel vindicated to have a composer and lyricist on to do that, to analyze the music in such a me way. I am so honored right now. I think I might be out of a job.
Hey, that's a great idea. Me and Andrew every week. I'm down with that. I am down with that.
Oh yeah, there you go. Nice. That's it. Done. You know what I also like? About this style of music? There is sometimes in life it does call for direct address, right? Like if I want, like you want to sometimes, but you don't get to. Like it's why people I think responded to the Addams Family so strongly, the Addams Family musical so strongly, is because why they responded to those characters is because those characters do things that we don't, and and yet we kind of want to. So like in the song Everything Went to Hell on this record, he said, the singer says, I watched you fucking him. Right then your life was over. And I'm like, holy shit, like, right? There's no thought crimes except in Minority Report, but there are no thought crimes. And you didn't know I was this much of a dork, did you? And I said yes to your program. And
that's true.
And we do have these thoughts, but bands like this voice them, and they voice them with like really, really primal thoughts and primal sounding music. And there is a ritualistic quality to it. Like, I don't mean to be a sociologist, but there is a kind of like trance, like you start to rock to it and you feel like powerful listening to this kind of music. It's just like, remember when rap music became very popular in the 80s, and there was a lot of my recollection of it, there was a lot of concern or criticism of it in some areas of the world, where that it was all so negative and angry and there was I don't mean to be critical of rap music, but there was a lot of foul language, there was a lot of misogyny, there's a lot of anger in it, and that there's still maybe in rap music. I don't really know rap music well, but I know that also along came certain artists who used the components of rap, the ideas behind rap, and personalized it so that sometimes the messages were positive. Sometimes the messages were weren't those the angriest of expressions. And when that happened, it really advanced the art form. This art form feels to me like it's caught up still in a lot of anger. And so I wonder, like, are there examples in this world where there are songs, where's the gentle side of these guys? Like, are there gentle songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, prog rock.
Yeah. Where's the positive side? I'm going to say, actually, a guy from New York, Andrew WK. If you listen to his music, that is, he's just oozes positivity. And that's it with the rock edge. And he's I'm going to say, yep, go with Andrew WK. Nicky Sixx probably not the best guy to get that, because he came up from, he was bass player with Motley Crue, came out of the LA scene. There was just sleaze and dirt, and as much misogyny as there was in the 80s rap, there was probably twice as much in the glam metal era that we kind of lived through. And when you look back at it now, it certainly makes me cringe at some of the lyrics, and you just kind of got to put it in its place a little bit. So not so much swearing in glam metal as there was in rap. So thankfully, and we didn't use the
thankfully
or not thankfully,
or
and we didn't use the N-word at all, because white people. So which is a good thing.
What rap is about, taking back their.
Oh yeah,
I don't need to explain. I don't need to explain rap.
That's exactly what I'm glad you said that, Aaron. Because there's a whole cultural expression going on that I should not dip my finger in, because it has nothing to do with my lived experience.
No.
So I understand that. I was wondering about the band Extreme. Is the band Extreme fit into this category?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that?
Yep.
So they
More
have
Than
the song
Words?
"More Than Words," which is one of my absolute favorite songs ever. So and that was one of their biggest hits, if not their biggest hit.
Yeah,
and it was this gentle love song, right? That was very unlike the rest of the material they did.
Yeah.
In fact, that might be played. That might be my wedding song when I get married in March.
Well, that was my brother's wedding song, Andrew.
Was it really? I'm not marrying your brother.
No, thank God.
You can't make me.
You don't want
I thought you were already married.
Oh, I was married and I'm now defiled, I guess the Catholic Church would say. Well, they would say it. I'm gay and I'm Jewish, so I'm useless to the Catholic Church. I am divorced.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Will I always be divorced? Yeah, I will always be divorced. I am divorced.
Okay.
Once I'm remarried, will I be divorced still? Yes, I'll still be divorced from the person whom I divorced from.
Yes.
Yeah, so life is complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just about songs.
I'm divorced too, so that's okay. There we go. We got something in
common.
common.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
And I'm single and lonely.
So.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there are two exes running around that you might,
Yeah, I'm not sure. My ex might be a little bit too female for you.
I don't want to. Yeah. I didn't know this show was.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to gross you out.
Yeah, I didn't know this show was a dating app.
Every episode.
For Aaron.
I was just gonna swipe.
Yeah, every single episode. Goodness.
Why did you do a podcast? Hey, Aaron, why did you do this? Why did you found this podcast? I was kind of looking for a date.
Yeah. So I needed a wingman.
Weirdly just keeps inviting gay men on the podcast, and I don't know why. So
Andrew is our second.
Theater.
Yeah.
No, you're only our second LGBT guest.
Really?
Oh, who was the first, and why am I second?
Yeah.
Doug Hansel from Australia's production of Come From Away.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's allowed. He's a local.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that
I'll
must have
drink
been
to
fun.
that.
Yeah, it must have been fun for you.
Yeah.
With your Come From Away mug.
Mm.
I've been to Australia 3 times, and there's no reason why the coffee should be so good, but it's better than anywhere I've ever been.
Especially Melbourne, which
Yes.
that's where I'm from. Yes.
That's hilarious. So it's time to put in a plug for my family from Melbourne, if I could.
Yes.
I have a big extended family in Melbourne. my shout out to all of them in Melbourne. I can't say them all by name because I don't know all their names. There are that many of them, but they're the most wonderful people. And I've been to Australia 3 times, and every time I go visit my family in Melbourne. So hello, family.
Wow.
Family. They started out as Kleimans, Kleiman. They were all my aunt and uncle moved from England a couple years after my mother and father moved from England to America.
Because you were born in Leeds. I love Leeds. It's a great city.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Gareth. Yeah, I was born in Leeds, and in fact, in 2019, the then Leeds College of Music, now rechristened the Leeds Conservatoire.
It does.
Yes, it sounds fancy, right? I was inducted as a fellow of the Leeds College of Music in 2019, and it was this wonderful thing where I had a lot of my extended family, a bunch of cousins, and I had an elderly aunt who came and at this graduation ceremony, and we all got dressed up in PhD clothes, and I had lunch with the Lord Mayor of Leeds and the Lord Mayor consort, and
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I turned cold because when you said consort, it stopped for a second in my audio, and it did not sound like consort.
I'm not going to ask you what it sounded like.
I wouldn't. So that's why I was like,
gonna,
oh shit,
except,
I turned cold.
Nikki Sixx would say it.
Yes. I almost had a heart attack because it slipped out of my mouth a couple of times, and it did yesterday. And
you know what? I'm sure a lot.
I got a look
slipped out of your mouth.
Here we go.
A lot of things have. Yes, and slipped in there. Actually, no, I'm very conservative about what goes into my mouth.
There it is. It had to happen. There it is.
I am. That's why I'm so skinny, because I filter what goes into my mouth quite conservatively.
You're like a blue whale. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Why are you both ganging up on me? That's so not fair.
I'm going to leave that there.
Well, I guess time's up on 6 a.m., so we should probably cast our net to big fish.
Yes.
What happened to that?
Yes, let's switch over to metal because look, that got a 4-star. So...
I'm surprised that got 4 stars, but I'm happy.
We're going to jump to a quick ad break. We'll be back in a moment with the amazing Andrew Lippa.
Coming this summer, winter, spring, or fall, the first ever musical theater sitcom, where you go behind the scenes of the latest West End show, the FIRST Ballet.
Where's the important stuff? Aha! £1,000 a week ensemble rate. That's what Mamma Mia likes.
Starring Philip Joel and a West End cast featuring Kerry Ellis, Darren Day, Louise Demon, and Oliver Saville, and more.
It all started in 1987 when I was a jobbing actress working in a diner.
Yeah, it's just I had a really bad experience when I was touring Australia with a wombat.
Darling! Mwah, mwah.
La, la.
How long have I been mentoring you? 3 months?
2 years.
So her name is Henrietta.
The horse. Yes. I've managed to secure you an audition for the biggest, most innovative, and the latest show to be going into the West End. Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. Think more along the lines of Panto.
Frozen.
You can watch this episode for the price of a coffee. Simply go to www.thefussyforestballet.com. Any and all profits go back to theatre charities, acting for others, and the theatre's trust. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you'll see a grown man in sparkly tights.
Tight nights. Nice tights.
Oh my God, Gareth's gonna review my songs? Oh God, okay.
This is, yeah. It's like, let's do this podcast where we invite guests on and hold them up in front of each other and tell us what you really think of this music.
Yeah, wow. Well, at least the Australians are honest.
I've always said this because I literally, review music, but I'm safely hidden behind a keyboard and I just put it up there and go, there you go. That's what I thought of your damn album. No, that's not true. But no, very rarely do I have to, in fact, never have I had to face the person who wrote the music and their lyrics.
No.
And told them what I thought of them. So 5 stars. Thank you. Good night.
Chicken shit.
No, I wrote some words down. So we did Big Fish. Well, I don't know why we didn't do the Addams Family, but we did Big Fish.
Well, last week we did Titanic, and I thought we've got a big boat, so now we need to catch a big fish. So what did we do?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well,
of course I am.
God. Really?
The
I-
more absurd it is that comes out of my mouth, the more likely it is to be true. You know this about me already.
I know. Your brain works in different ways that I don't understand.
Exactly.
So, anyway.
I just wanted to make that pun. That's the only reason why I invited Andrew on and did this CD, just so I could make that pun.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm satisfied. I can die happy.
What a build-up. And the payoff was, the payoff. No. So I did Big Fish. And as Andrew would know, I don't know anything about musical theatre, so everything that I say from now on should be taken with a grade of ignorance. Anyway, Big Fish. I'm going to say this. I tried to watch the movie. I got 20 minutes in, I turned it off. I couldn't do it. I thought, my God. And in fact, 20 minutes in, I'm thinking, for God's sake, someone sing a song and get the story moving, because nothing is going on.
Can I just interject? You gave the Prom cast album 5 stars.
Yes, I did.
That got 3 minutes into that movie.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes into Big Fish that doesn't have songs that you already knew. So that's I'm actually
Well, it had no
impressed.
songs. Anyway, I was watching it and scrolling through Twitter at the same time, so I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, my honest opinion, and I'm not gonna piss in your pocket, Andrew, because that would be disrespectful.
And you get my pants wet.
Yeah. I love the start. I think Be the Hero was this. Honestly, it started with a bang. Be the Hero is a great song. Also, and it's like 3 songs in one. Because when you come into the Alabama Stomp, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm hooked because it's a big fish. And
that was a clever pun.
Thank you. And there's tap dancing, and I love. There's little known fact. I love tap dancing. I always have.
What?
I think it's
What?
Yeah, I know.
What? Okay, why am I only finding out about this now? Because I hear tap dancing and I'm there straight away. Like that's my bag, baby. I never knew this.
Yeah, I've always loved tap dancing. So I thought, okay,
Wow.
here we go. Here's a big number, and it's a big number to start. And you roll into the witch, and it's getting.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a great song. Look, these are really good songs. I got a little bit lost in the middle, and I love the whimsy about it, and I love the mystical and it's fantasy and all that sort of thing. And I did get kind of lost in the middle, and then I got pulled back at the end. But I know the story, but here's what I got out of it. This was me and my dad. This got me right there. And I think this is my kids and me as well. I know it is, because when I tell them things, they look at me like I'm stupid, the way I used to look at my dad.
So do I.
Yeah. The way I used to look at my dad. And he was like, and I sometimes my kids turn around and go, they look at me and go, that's not right, Dad. And I go, no, this is actually true. And then they go away and find out that what I'm telling them is true. And they come back and they go, how do you know that? So I go, I don't know. 50 years on the planet. You learn shit. Okay. And you've been here for 15 years. Shut the hell up. So it's a great story. And there's some really, like, Daffodils has to be the world's longest wedding proposal, and it's a beautiful song. So there's parts of this musical that I haven't seen it. I've only heard it again, and that's always a little bit. I'm always, I think, at a bit of a disadvantage because I don't see these things, I only hear them. So I just take it for the music. Mm-hmm. But there's great characters in here, and it kind of it filled me. I got a warm fuzzy from it.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Sorry. It's that father and son, and it's just a great story. You take all the other things out of it, and I think I just kind of distilled it down to how I felt, and it was just it just left me with a really good feeling. Be the Hero was a great song, and there's big numbers and there's ensembles, and it's got I enjoyed it. There's, like I said, it kind of lost me a little bit in the middle, but I think it started strong and ended strong. So that's that what more can you ask for? And Andrew, please tell me why I'm completely wrong. and
Well, let's see. I've got a list.
I saw you writing. I saw the notes.
No, that was just me tuning out.
Yep.
Mm.
And no, I was listening to every other word. I swear I was.
Okay.
One of the things about cast recordings that is not a musical is that it's a representation of the songs in a musical. And if there are some musicals that are through sung that have more in common with opera because of that, where you can listen to the whole thing, and like Rent, for example, and that's in more of an idiom that you may be used to listening to. But you listen to Rent, you can get the idea of the whole show by listening to the whole recording. But most shows, if there are a number of scenes and a certain amount of talking in the show, it's really hard to know sometimes what the context is, especially now in the days where we don't use CDs and look at the booklets that have synopsis written in them. It's hard to just from iTunes or whatever music service you use, just to listen to a cast recording. You're missing a part of it because if you're not a fan of the show, you haven't seen the show, you're only judging it based on the merits of the songs and not how the songs function in the story. And that's ultimately what musicals are. Musicals are that whole thing. So I don't blame you for getting lost in the middle. I don't know that I would want to listen to the whole recording of any musical that I don't know, that I'm not aware of what happens, because otherwise I'm not as fully engaged. I'm just listening to songs and not quite sure what they're for or who's singing them. Why is it different voices? Who are these other people? You're not always certain every song what that is depending on the show. So no, I don't think you're wrong. I think I'll never talk to you again, but I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, I know that. I expected that. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Most positive you have ever been about anything that wasn't a straight up 5-star review. I think. I don't know what you've given it. What score have you given it?
See, I don't want to give it. Look, I'm giving it 3 out of 5, and that's a high 3. Not the low 3 that I gave last week. That's
an insult to our guest.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
we don't invite these people on the show for you to insult them.
I know. I also, I also actually kind of love Fight the Dragons. That was a great song. There's some great songs in here. And what was it? I just want to ask you, Andrew, what was it about this story that you went, you went, this would be a great musical, and I want to write this. What was it about the story that kind of grabbed you?
There are two things. One of them is the musical lives on two planes. One of them is the very real plane of a father and son who aren't connecting and have yet to connect at a critical moment in their relationship, and where the father is nearing the end of his life. And two, the notion of living, the questioning of reality all the time, and whether Edward Bloom lives part in the real world and part not in the real world, and it's very hard for anybody else. I am that person. So John August, who wrote the screenplay based on a book by Daniel Wallace, John August wrote the screenplay and co-wrote the musical, wrote the book to the musical with me writing the songs. And John, it was remarkable actually how much like Will John is, and how much like Edward Bloom I am. And as we were developing the musical, we often noticed that like in each other and in how we approached telling the story. And that was a really good thing, because it was great. It was kind of like we had the two characters in the room with us while we were making things. And I think the quintessence of the musical, the real summation of the musical, is the very end, when Edward Bloom goes to the river and says that he's seen this all before, when he's about to die, and he sees the magic of all the people who he's known in his life. And it's that notion of what do you see when you're about to die? And in that song, how it ends, in the bridge, he sings, I know I wasn't perfect. It's the first time in the musical that he confesses that he's in on the joke. He's in on it. He knows he's been a bit of a fabricator. He knows it. And he says, I know I know that I wasn't perfect. I know my life was what is it? I know I wasn't perfect. I know my life was something. I know that I pretended, I knew my life was small. I know that I pretended that I knew it all. And then here's the killer, because this reminded me of my father. But when you tell my story, and I hope somebody does, remember me as something bigger than I was. Yeah. And it's the biggest musical phrase of that song. It's the big high notes, and it's the big long notes, and it's the big build to the end, because he's begging his son to say, not only to say, don't forget me, but when you remember me, will it hurt you to just elevate me a little bit, make me feel a little bit, make me seem a little better and a little bigger than I actually was. Yeah. That's all I'm asking you to do. And I think maybe now you get it. Yeah. And that he needs that acknowledgement from his son, because what does he sing next? He sings right after that, remember me as something bigger than I was. And then he sings, it ends with sons. He looks to his son and gets the acknowledgement. It ends with wives. It ends with knowing when the pavement bends, we find our lives. So the idea there being that it's not all straight lines, enjoy the turns, enjoy the confusions. And that's the lesson he learned, the simplest of lessons, really, but he had to go through it in his way, the way we all have to go through it in ours. And so his death is a joyful one, and he sees it as such. And for me, what attracted me so much was this whole idea that death is something to partner with. Like we partner every other part of our lives. We're active and invested in every other part of our lives. If we're healthy, I've had periods of my life where I wasn't invested and I got into a lot of emotional distress because of it. But when we're mentally and emotionally and psychologically well, we invest in our lives. And why shouldn't we invest in how we die? Why shouldn't we invest, even if it's painful, even if it's difficult, even if it's sad? We instead of brushing it away, if we welcome it in the way that character welcomed it in, then I think death is less frightening and more of a we know it's coming, so why avoid it? Mm-hmm. And that for me is a lesson that I keep relearning, and that's really what I got out of wanting to write Big Fish and what it meant to me.
Wow.
Oh. It's rather indicative of Gareth and I's relationship on this show, where I say something and he does not believe me at all. He questions it every single time, even the pun.
Mostly because I'm not listening.
Yeah, that's true. So I'd be the Edward in this. I'd be the father, the old one.
Oh, no.
Excuse me. I'm happy to be Albert Finney and Ewan McGregor any day.
Oh, okay.
You can be... I know it's Billy Crudup. Was that his name in the film? Or
in the film, Crudup? Yeah, it was Billy Crudup. I don't know how to pronounce it.
And Norbert, working with him, is he one of those dream actors that you can throw anything at him and he can just knock it out of the park?
Yes. Norbert is all I'm interested in is what I also think what Norbert is interested in is emotional truth. And all I'm interested in everything I write is getting to the emotion of it. And doesn't mean I don't write funny things. I want to get to the emotional truth of what makes it funny. And I'm not an intellectual writer, and I'm not an analytical writer. I'm not a distanced writer. I'm not a cold writer. I'm a hot and sensitive emotional writer. And because I am a hot and sensitive emotional person. And when I say hot, so Norbert is, yeah, if I don't say it, who's going to say it?
Yep.
And it won't be Gareth.
Yeah, if only it was a video podcast, the whole world could see how hot you really are. Yeah.
And so yes, Norbert is one of those actors. Like, I don't think Norbert and I ever had to talk too much about the songs. You know, Norbert learned them and then just went and did his magic. And you know, that's I love working with actors, and I'm not afraid to talk to them and to tell them what I think about a particular moment in a song. But Norbert is just so rich and deep that he found, you know, I mean, I've had that experience multiple times, fortunately, like with Kristen Chenoweth, you mentioned earlier, or with Nathan Lane and the Addams Family. Nathan and I just, you know, Nathan just always understood what I was trying to do and would just make it better. And so like, that's the great thing about great actors.
I have a question about What's Next, which is probably my favorite song from Big Fish. Am I hearing this as a sort of a spiritual sequel to Something's Coming from West Side Story? Because if you play those two songs together, I feel like there's a little spiritual connection there, not lyrically or musically, but
Are you saying plagiarism? Are you saying
no? I'm
sounds like
not at all. I said I said not lyrically and not musically.
Let me just get my lawyer on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This will be our final show, people. Thank you for being with us. I've been Aaron.
My solicitor.
Yeah.
What do you guys call lawyers?
Oh, they're lawyers. Yeah.
Oh, you call them lawyers. Only English people call them solicitors. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
We call them assholes, but you know.
Yeah.
I specifically stated not musically. I'm saying spiritual sequel, which is exactly what that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what you're sensing there. I mean, Something's Coming is at the beginning of a story where it's the first time we musically hear from the character, and he's anticipating some mysterious thing in his life that he believes is about to happen.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's sort of the vaguest of the numbers in West Side Story, right? It's the least specific. He's not saying Maria's coming. Like, I can imagine what like, I don't know. I've never asked Stephen Sondheim about that song, but I imagine that might have been the thought process, which is, well, he can't say that a girl's coming, or a forbidden love is coming, or he can't say Maria's coming. So sooner or later you have to come up with some sort of catchphrase, right? And I suppose What's Next is a kind of catchphrase. But in the sense in Big Fish, however, it's the literary one. It's the one that's meanwhile, like that's the famous comic book one, or suddenly, the terms that are used in comic books or are used in writing in general to sort of get your attention. But I don't see much of a similarity there, though. I'm always happy to be compared to West Side Story, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Full disclaimer: I'm not a West Side Story fan. I don't listen to it. I've seen it once and I didn't enjoy it.
Wow.
But that song I do know. And when I heard What's Next, I sort of I if you would have put
sorry,
those two,
connection's gone dead. Sorry. Hello.
Because I don't like. I'm sorry, Stephen Sondheim. I absolutely love your work. If you were to bookend a review or something with those two, I think thematically they would work together. Oh wow.
There we are. I mean, you can sing that, right?
Yeah.
It's in this key.
Yeah, I promise I'm not saying they're the same song or there's any sort of. I promise you not that, because I listened to them both together and I see a thematic bridge between the two, but it could just be me reading too much into it.
That's just you.
You know what's interesting about that song?
Just be me.
I wonder if this happens.
I feel like I've offended you.
I wonder if this happens to rock bands or in thrash records, if they have cut songs. They probably do. Like they write a song that they don't record, or they record it and then they're like, we're not going to put that on the record. And then it shows up at a compilation 10 years later or in a Peter Jackson movie. And What's Next, there was a song that I wrote that was this really dramatic, dark, minor keyed thing where Will sat next to his father, and his father was unconscious in the hospital bed, and Will sort of screamed all the shit that he never actually said to his father but wanted to. And it was really it was the closest thing to something from the Damned, that Damned record. What's it called? Valley of the Damned, People of the Damned, Prayers for the Damned. Where he was like, basically saying, "You motherfucker, you stupid father, why did you do this shit to me?" And Susan Stroman, our director, she was like, "No, that's not the song. It's got to be he's got to tell the story of his death. He's got to send his father. He's got to finally do what his father asked him. He's got to tell him a story." And that clicked. And then what really there is a musical ID, as it were. So there's. There's that in a similar way.
It's ponderous. Yeah, that's there's a ponderous.
Yeah, and there's a piece of music that connects to the feeling of it. So yeah, I can see a little bit.
That's why I say spiritual sequel. I was very careful with my words because I didn't want to offend you with the question at all. But we're here to analyze music and all that. So I love What's Next. I don't like What's That Story.
I love the fact we've got a Broadway composer that just bursts into music randomly.
Yeah,
this is fantastic.
Hide my face. I'm so embarrassed.
That's what I do all day long.
I turn around, I've got tissues. You turn around, you've got a piano. It's fantastic. I love it.
I've got tissues as well.
Okay, play something sad. I can use it.
And I got my second shot on Tuesday, so it's a Friday today for those of you listening. So I'm in less than 2 weeks. I'll reach that 14-day mark. So thank you, science, amazing.
Yeah,
wow,
that'd be nice. What is it?
I'm going to be the last one to get it done out of the three of us, I think, because I'm.
Because you're a child. You're a child.
I know.
It was funny when I was 49. I did the thing online, and it was like, "When are you going to get your vaccine?" And it was like, "Forget about it." And a day later, I turned 50, and I went online and said, "When do you get it?" Hey, guess what? Next week.
And you qualified. That's hilarious.
I'll go. I'll take that.
There's an organization here called the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, technically people don't retire until, the traditional age is 65 is the number, but they allow you to be a member of the AARP at 50 because clearly they want members and they send you magazines and coupons to get free coffee at places and whatever, go nuts. And so I got their magazine in the mail today because I belong to the AARP because one of my aunts bought me a subscription, and anyways, a long story. But I was talking to my mother and I said, "Mom, let's play a game." And my mother's going to be 90. My mother will be 90 in September.
Oh, wow. Good.
And I said to my mother, "Mom, how do you know when you're really old?" And she looked at me and she said, "I don't know. How do you know when you're really old?" And I held up the AARP magazine. I said, "When your son gets the AARP magazine."
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, I didn't know you were 50.
I'm 56.
Get the seriously.
Just because you look 75, Gareth.
Yeah, that's
especially compared.
Three stars.
Thank you. It's the beard. I'm going grey gracefully. I don't care.
And to quote Andrew Lippa himself, "Oh yeah, that's what you think." We'll be back in a moment. G'day listeners, Aaron here. While me and Gareth are taking a break, I thought now would be a great time to spill my guts. Well, not my guts, the fully fabulous Kristen Johnston's, whose hilarious yet harrowing memoir Guts details her roller coaster ride through all the excesses of Hollywood and the toll it can take on even the fiercest of bitches. Keijo has shed all pretense by opening up her heart and soul in this gripping tale, which will leave readers reaffirmed of their own inner strength and ability to kick some ass in this world. You may know her as Sally Solomon or as Joan Collins' bedrockian daughter, but once you've dived into Kristen's guts, you'll come to know that she's nothing short of a warrior.
Available now where all good books are sold. Grab your copy of Guts today.
If you could see one of your musicals done by NBC or Fox, which one would you like to see, and who would you like to play?
And why is it the Addams Family?
I'm curious why you picked those two networks.
Well, because they're the ones doing them.
Before. I'm like, I want Netflix to do my music.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, there we go, Netflix.
I want a premium streamer. Thank you very much. So what's the rest of the question? I was all caught up in who we were selling it to.
And why is it Addams Family?
Which musical would you want them to do as a live TV musical? And remember that people on Twitter are absolute bastards when these go on. So yeah.
Twitter bastards is, a lot of people don't know this, the cut song from Prayers for the Damned. Twitter bastards is the one song they didn't include because Jack Dorsey threatened to sue them.
Bloody Jack.
Wow, I'm on fire tonight. It's Friday night. I would very much like to see, I don't know if I want to see a live television version, but I would like to see a made for film version of the Addams Family musical. The Addams Family is the most produced musical in North America 4 out of the last 5 years, not including the pandemic year. And when it wasn't the most produced, it was the second most produced, only after Beauty and the Beast. And the Addams Family has been translated into like 30 languages, and it's really quite extraordinary. A lot of people already have experienced that show, and I have a very strong pitch for how to make it into a film. And it would, I think it would be a spectacularly delightful film musical. And it's a real opportunity to cast it with a diverse cast, because it cries out for that, and it would just be joyful and a fun thing to put on film. So we're hoping that can happen before I die, and that's and after that review I got from Gareth, it's coming soon.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna review the Addams Family, but it'll be.
God, that's why he's mad we didn't pick the Addams Family.
Yeah, he'll be seeing it.
My 15-year-old daughter is in the high school production of the Addams Family, and she's playing brilliant. Alice. And I said, "Hey, guess what?" And this is the only time I've been cool when I said I'm going to be talking to Andrew Lippa, and she said, "Can you tell him that I'm in the Addams Family?"
The guy you're going to trash.
Exactly.
The guy you're going to completely humiliate. Then this is what Big Fish is about. The sins of the fathers are not.
So many sins. I have so many sins. Yeah,
you do.
It's wonderful,
like that
but
t-shirt.
it's a remarkable thing we all do. I'm going to praise all of us for a moment, because you talked, Aaron, about both of you being authors and creators of things. Is that if you get the potential, if you get the opportunity, and you do something that reaches a large number of people, like that idea of what art is. Like the pandemic has brought up this whole question of, how to support artists and how many artists have suffered because of this. And I've said it before. It's that art is, we all need to eat food, so nobody stopped making food. And but the truth is, art is farming for the soul. And if we don't keep creating things, we're gonna shrivel. We're gonna fall apart. So. I'm really, this program that you do is one way of contributing, and the books you write, the poems you write, the reviews you write, the ways that you interact with the world, and the fact that your daughter obviously sees, like, I'm going to go be in the school play, and like, how wonderful. And boy, Alice, she must have some high notes. So I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes. So she went out for Wednesday, and she got Alice. And the previous one, she played Alice in Wonderland. That was at a Fringe festival, and so she was like, I said, "You're getting typecast as Alice." Yeah, and tell me your name is Alice. Yeah, no, it's Natasha. So yeah. You used to live in Alice Springs.
fun fact, when we flew to Alice Springs, the only time we've been there, coming down, she was 3 years old and threw up all over herself in the aeroplane.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Oh,
yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm sure she'll be delighted you just told us.
She,
that.
hey, by the way, Tash, I told Andrew Lippa that you vomited. Yeah.
Oh my God, Gareth, I cannot take you anywhere.
Nope.
Speaking of Wednesday, we actually had the Canadian Wednesday on, Steffi Di Domenicantonio.
Yeah.
My understanding is the Canadian Wednesday is actually Thursday.
No, that's here in Australia.
Oh, the actor. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And all my Canadian friends, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Sorry, Canada.
Now there are 2 countries I'm not allowed in.
Yeah.
Yep. Goodness gracious.
Iran has always been one of them. So I,
Now, are we going to see, especially this year, a Charlie Brown sequel? Maybe Wear Your Fucking Mask, Charlie Brown.
over your fucking nose, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Tom, my fiance, and I went on holiday. We had a beach holiday last week in
Mhm.
South Carolina, a place called Hilton Head Island. And Tom's fully vaccinated, and I was half vaccinated. But we were very careful. We wore masks. We ate outdoors only. We went to this restaurant, and there was some woman who she didn't get it. Like, she just didn't get it. Every time she spoke to the people working in the restaurant, she yanked her mask down, shouted at full volume, and then put her mask back on. I'm like, that is the other way. Do it the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No sequels
Yeah.
to Charlie Brown are planned. I'm hoping there's a sequel to The Addams Family. That we're
Okay.
hoping we can pull off a Christmas themed version of The Addams Family, a new show. But that's in early discussion phase. I've got a lot of other things in the hopper, thank goodness. And but I always love the reason to come back to Australia. I'm hoping.
Yes.
I was going to say, you've got a lot of things. You're working on a lot of stuff. Obviously, nothing's happening at the moment. Is there any kind of sense of when things are going to when you're going to start again? Are you as in, shows, production starting up again? Is there any sense of, do you have a timeline of any idea when it's all going to, when we can kick off?
I think it's going to be, it's already started in tiny little ways, and there are summer things that are coming up that people are doing outdoors, opera companies and theater companies that are planning outdoors only seasons, outdoor only seasons. I know that that's happening also in Britain,
Canada as well,
and Canada as well, and the rest of Europe, I'm not sure. Things have gotten bad there again, and things are getting bad in certain places in America again, and so it's like, nobody's quite certain what that answer is. I spoke to a friend of mine who's a Broadway producer who said that they anticipate that their show's going to be able to reopen in September, and I asked if that was at full capacity, and they said they don't know that answer yet. And so if shows can't open at full capacity, then there's all the question of salaries and protection for everybody and all that. It's just going to be a lot of chaos, I think. So I think the last places to open are going to be the most crowded. And what I mean by that is there are concert halls that can open that have big lobbies and can play at a 50% or 35%, 40% capacity, where they can keep people far enough apart from each other. But Broadway houses and smaller theaters are, particularly in New York City or in London, are really 19th century buildings, and they're if you've ever been in Times Square at 10:15 and 7 shows are letting out within 5 minutes of each other, and the throng of people, like, I don't think that's going to be allowed right away either,
No.
So I think it's going to be phased, or I'm not sure how that will happen. We're all hoping that by December, that people seem to be saying that by December, if we keep staying rigorously on this vaccination path, that we will be able to get back to full steam. And then there's the whole vaccination passport question, which everybody has different opinions about. So, I think there's a lot of jockeying to happen, but we're hoping it happens. One last thing, just to plug, if I may, in relation to the pandemic, I serve as the president of the board of a charitable organization called the Dramatists Guild Foundation, dgf.org. We're almost a 60-year-old organization that supports the work of America's playwrights, composers, and lyricists. And this past work, and we also promote the art of playwriting and making musicals. And this past year alone, since the beginning of the pandemic, we've given out over $1.2 million in direct emergency grant assistance to individuals, and started a mental health and wellness fund that started in December that gives out $1,000 grants to individuals to get connected to an online aggregator that connects people directly to mental health care professionals. And it's been a real spiritually, talk about spiritual experience, being able to connect people who love the art form, who need help. And in fact, I had the great fortune of speaking to a colleague today who was a recipient not too long ago of one of our grants. I don't make decisions about grants. I don't know who gets them. It's a very private thing. And so we give out, we have a committee that makes these decisions and keeps it very anonymous. And so it was wonderful to have a conversation with a colleague who said, Dramatists Guild Foundation really helped me out. So that's been a great, an added part of my life. And I love that that you've given me a minute here to talk about it. Anybody interested, go to dgf.org. You can learn more about what we do in America, and if you are at all interested in contributing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
dgf.org. That's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing to do. It's sad that everyone we talk to everywhere around the world in the arts, we're kind of all in the same boat with the pandemic, when the government's throwing money at sports, and they're throwing money here and there and there. And I have a lot of friends who are musicians, and thankfully they're slowly getting back to work now. But it's like, okay, where's our support? And arts people pull together and they help each other. So it's kind of sad that we've had to do it, but it's really heartwarming that people are giving back in that way. And well done, Andrew. That's a good thing to do. So
thank you very much. Thank you for saying so. Thank you.
No worries. Just one last question before you go. How many times have you slammed the piano and gone fuck, like at the start of a
lot of times.
A lot of times.
Yeah, that's one of many techniques of sort of trying to figure out how to jostle my brain into thinking something, say it a different way. When I work alone, so I've written some projects on my own, like The Wild Party or I Am Part of the Milk, or I'm working on a project now where I'm writing the whole thing by myself. So I don't have that other person to call up. And when I have that other person to call up, or persons, that's great, because I can say, look, I don't get this. I don't understand what's going on here. And they have to find a way to explain to me, like, why we decided that was the spot to sing, and what, and I have to find what I think makes it a good song and a good idea for a song. On my own, sometimes, yes, I will. In fact, my new philosophy, which you started talking about Kristen Chenoweth and Charlie Brown, I actually did that. When I wrote that song in 1998, God, so long ago. When I wrote that song in 1998, I literally, I had written a lyric, and it was really crappy, and I'd written some really bad music, and I literally stood up and went, like that. I was like, I did that, and when I did, I landed on, I went like that.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait a minute.
That's it.
And then I went out of nowhere, and I did that for like minutes.
Yeah.
And then I went, my new philosophy, da, 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 da. And that was how the song got born. And that little is really what the song's built around. And once that was a throw your hands on the piano and scream fuck, into the ether. And look what I got.
Exactly. My new philosophy is violently abuse my keyboard, and I will create art.
That is how it is done. Sometimes also, I'm always fascinated in the artistic process and how it happens. And most of us who make things know that a lot of the time it happens when we're not doing the thing that we want to be doing. So it's when we're exercising or taking a shower or on a walk, or
the mundane.
Famous stories about Beethoven out in nature, and and all of the the things that inspire us, and then suddenly the idea hits, and you go, oh, I know how to figure out that plot problem that I couldn't figure out, you know, in the story.
Yeah, the mundane. I've been saying it dozens of episodes. It is the most inspiring to artists.
Yeah, it often is. Yes.
Yeah, it really is. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us on this ridiculous nonsense that we call a podcast. It has been an honor and a delight.
It's delightful.
I was on my best behavior.
Kind of.
You know what? In all the times that I've met you, Gareth, this was the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. As it was for me. You get better with every meeting.
And thanks for inviting me onto this program.
No, thank you. And a huge thanks again to Matt for all his help putting this episode together. And also a huge thanks to Pim Sutton and her mum Lou for their help trying to find out the information on whether or not I had seen Andrew Lippa's version of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And as I say, I found out by sheer dumb luck in the end, but still thank you very much, ladies, for your help. Our listeners at home can find Andrew on Twitter at LippaOfficial, one word. Be sure to check out the Dramatists Guild Foundation. You can find them at dgf.org. Also, be sure to check out his many musicals on Spotify, iTunes. In fact, buy the CDs, go see the shows, support live theatre and support bands. If you want to support us, you can check us out at Twitter at Thrash and Treasure, on Instagram at Thrash and Treasure Podcast, on Facebook at Thrash and Treasure, and you can also support our network by picking up a copy of The Toniston Tales at thetonistonTales.com. Huge thanks again to my co-host Gareth, to our magnanimous guest Andrew Lippa. What an honour. We'll be back next week where Gareth has given myself and our special guest Lisa Humber a Slipknot album, I'm Not Your Kind. Well, how very kind of him. Whilst we're returning the favour by subjecting him to the sound of music. It's game on, bitches. Anyways, that's it from me. I've been Aaron, and this has been an absolute blast. Andrew, there is an open invitation for you to join us anytime.
Thank you, and
absolutely brilliant. Anyways, you at home, take care, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Have fun. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Hooroo.